Yo, welcome to Millennial Magic YouTube. Today, we're going to be going over a Rapid Strike Malamar deck, and we're going to do a VOD review of one of the games I played on stream. This deck is mediocre. Like, it did fine. We technically won more games than we lost, but it's got some very tough matchups in the current meta, but it's a lot of fun, and there's a lot of really cool sequencing that we can do with the deck. And I'm really excited to kind of go back over my game and kind of look at some of those choices. This is the list we're at. Oh, sorry, the Rapid Strike Malamar. Rapid Strike Tentacles for a single Psychic Energy 40 times. Reveal any number of Rapid Strike cards, so anything with this Rapid Strike designation. From your hand, this attack does 40 damage for each card you revealed in this way, then shuffle those cards into your deck. And that's one of the biggest things with this deck is it kind of gets more powerful the later the game goes, because you draw more cards, you play your non-Rapid Strike cards. So even a late game Marnie isn't the worst thing in the world because they're probably going to draw into multiple Rapid Strike cards and hit really hard on the following turn. Like I said, some tough matchups. We've tried to mitigate that a little bit with some of our choices. So the first thing I want to talk about here, the list started with Azul GG's list. I think I made like 2 changes at most. The Inkays. I get asked about the Inkays all the time when I was streaming it. I had people come in literally every 3 or 4 minutes and say, why are you playing the 68? Why are you playing the Dark Inkay? You know, do you not have the other one? Oh, that's just bad. The reason that we're playing the 60 HP Inkay in the list is Astral Barrage from Shadow Rider V. So its second attack does 50 damage, places 5 damage counters on 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. That means Mew does not stop it. The Rapid Strike Inkay has 50 HP. If you play 4 Rapid Strike Inkays, a competent Shadow Rider player should always beat you because you just never actually get them set up. You have to get down 3 in order to actually attack on the next turn. Even then, you're giving up 2 prizes and you have to Ordinary Rod them back in. So 60 HP Inkay gets away with that. Now, you could say, I'm going to take it pretty much an auto loss to Shadow Rider and just play the 50 HP Inkay. That is an option. I'm not going to stop you from doing that. I chose not to do that, although I will admit it is still a very hard matchup, even with the 60 HP Inkay. So it's your choice. If you're going to tell me, no, the 50 is so much better, it makes every other matchup fine, good. Play the 50 HP Inkay. I did not want to take an auto loss to Shadow Rider, considering it is the most popular and easily the best deck in the format right now. But I won't tell you taking an auto loss to Shadow Rider is necessarily a bad thing, because taking 1 auto loss isn't the worst. Now, of course, the ADP matchup also kind of sucks for this deck. That's one of the biggest downsides of it is Shadow Rider and ADP are 2 very big decks, but you can beat just about anything else, and you can actually beat both of those decks because the power level is so ridiculously high with this deck. You'll see in the game we're going to review, it was, for the most part, the deck is either you don't set up and you lose, or you do set up and you just completely pop off. So the game I chose, it's going to look like, wow, you chose one of the good games. Kind of. I chose one of the games where we drew cards and therefore we won. It's kind of that simple with the deck. If you draw cards, you sequence even remotely properly, you're going to hit really hard and really fast. So some of the other cards, this is the 4-3 Cinccino line. I've seen the Inteleon version. I've tried the Inteleon version. I'm less of a fan of the Inteleon version, though I will admit it is probably just as powerful. I really like using Make Do. It's incredibly powerful. It has Level Ball synergy. And the biggest thing with this one versus the Inteleon version is this one lets you get a really big hand. And it gives me kind of Baby Blounds vibes. You know, the Baby Blacephalon from Unbroken Bonds. You could Marnie them, you could stamp them low, and out of nowhere, they would just be like, all right, cool. You know, I'm going to Welder, I'm going to Oricorio, and suddenly they have a 20 card hand. This deck gives me the exact same vibes. Opponent Marnies me, cool. I'm going to, oh, I got a Bruno, sick. Bruno for 7, Oricorio for 3. Make do, draw 2 more. Make do, draw 2 more. And suddenly I've got a, 14 card hand, and you had Marnied me last turn into a 4 card hand. Like, I am a big fan of this because it escalates quickly. The Drizzle version does not. And so for that reason, I prefer this. Our supporter line for Korrina's Focus, one of our best cards in the deck. Because it's searchable with Octillery, it's also a Rapid Strike card, so we have to be careful. We don't want to use it too much, but very often you have to use it because it is the most accessible supporter. 3 Brawlies. Shuffle your hand in your deck, then draw 4 cards. If any of your Pokemon were knocked out during your opponent's last turn, draw 7 cards instead. We're a very squishy deck. We're going to Bruno quite a bit in this deck. And then I'm at 3 Brawly. Brawly is somehow the worst and also one of the stronger supporters in the deck. Search your deck for up to 3 basic Rapid Strike Pokemon, put them onto your bench, then shuffle your deck. Usually, if you have this on turn 1, you just go like Inkay Remoraid or something like that. I'm at 4-3 Octillery line, which is bigger than I think most people, but it's a Rapid Strike card. It's arguably the best card in the deck. There's so many times you're just like, I'm going to Oricorio, I'm going to make do, and then I'm going to Octillery at the end to get that last guaranteed Rapid Strike card that we need. I just like getting them down. Also, your opponent will very intelligently target your Remoraids consistently. So if you go like turn 1, you get a Remoraid and 2 Inkays, they're going to go take out that Remoraid. I want to draw it. I want my level balls to almost always be outs to Rapid Strike cards. So I'm going to go with the 4-3 Octillery line. You can go with less if you so want, but I'm just a big fan of the big line. 2 Air Balloons. This is important because one of the only ways we lost when I was playing this deck was my opponent going Boss Octillery, play a Chaotic Swell, and then do something like Astral Barrage or ADP's GX attack. And then it's like, I don't have a way out of the active because I can't Tower of Waters. Potentially Unbroken Bonds Marshadow with Resetting Hole could just be better, because then we can go Resetting Hole, find the Tower of Waters, retreat the Octillery, and then we don't get stalled out for a turn, a very important turn, because it's a single prize deck. One of your advantages is you always win before your opponent does because of the favorable prize trade, but if they can buy a turn or two, suddenly we don't win before they do, they win before we do. So a potential, if you don't like the Air Balloons, is run a Resetting Hole Marshadow, and then you can potentially get a second spot as well, because we can always Ordinary Rod the Resetting Hole Marshadow back. So these are some of the options. Fog Crystal is another option as well. I prefer PCOM, Level Ball over the Fog Crystal, but Fog Crystal is an option. It gets your Inkay, it gets your Mew, gets your Oricorio, it would get your Resetting Hole Marshadow, and it gets the 2 energies. But I wasn't really running into an issue where I think it would have been better than the other cards. But that is another option. If you're like, I prefer that, you might be right. It just never really came up as something that I needed, so I chose not to include it versus something like a Pokemon Communication, because you want to get out your Cinccinos ASAP. So we're going to go ahead and check out a game. I played this live on Twitch, but I'm going to go and comment over it. So we're not going to watch the game with me talking like as I'm playing. I want to review as I'm playing why are certain decisions made when they're made. So here it is. We're watching at 1.5 times speed. We get a mulligan. Awesome, sick, beautiful. You love it. We had to start the Dark Inkay because there's nothing else in the hand that we can actually start. And we're up against Lucario and Melmetal. This is a very tough matchup because we can't poke them. If we poke them, well, we can poke them, but if we poke them, they can Malolana. So we have to be very careful with our resources in this matchup in order to make sure that we can actually win the game. So this opening hand, we got the mulligan and the quick ball. That's kind of nice. What we can do is we can go and bench the Remoraid, and then we can go ahead and quick ball. We know our opponent's not going to knock us out. A cute benefit of the 60 HP Inkay that is not the purpose of this is that we don't get knocked out by Steel Fist. So we're going to quick ball the Cinccino. The reason I want to keep the boss around is they're going to run away. As they run away, I want to be able to chase them, and we only have 2 boss. We can recover the Cinccino whenever with Ordinary Rod. And we play 2 Ordinary Rods. Next turn, we're set up. We have the Octillery. We can go grab Mally, Spiral Energy, Korrinas for multiple cards, and hopefully hit them fairly hard. Except our opponent's going to Marnie us. That'll happen. They Marnie, we're hoping to draw well. Thankfully, we did get the Minccino, so we played around the Marnie a little bit, except we didn't draw into a Cinccino. My opponent makes a very good play here as well. So anytime you're playing Luke Metal and you're up against one of these like single energy, single prize decks, Mally, Spiritomb, Mad Party to an extent, although sometimes you don't want to, GXing for 1 energy on the first turn if you start the Luke Metal is the optimal play. You don't have to discard their energy. They only play 2. So you GX ASAP so you can start Steel Fisting on the following turn. So that's a good play by my opponent. So we're dead drawing, unfortunately. We do have the Brawly. So we can go ahead and Brawly out probably 2 Inkays so that we're ready to go. We can also quick ball, but I think we should save the quick ball right now for an Oricorio because we're probably going to have to give our opponent the first prize. That's okay. Not the biggest of deals. We can go ahead and drop the Brawly. Always use the full art. Full art's better. Grab a couple inks. We could bench the fish. The question of, do we want to bench the fish or not? Kind of want a PCOM off the top in order to start using Make Do, or actually to grab an Octillery. The odds of them getting the boss KO on a Remoraid is almost 0%. There's no actual reason to bench the Remoraid because it keeps PCOM as an out to get an Octillery, to get a Cinccino, to get, you know, something else. And they're not going to KO. Well, they're probably not going to KO. All right, so my opponent's deciding if they want to Marnie us. Ooh, and they get the boss's orders. They're going to go ahead and fist the Remoraid. That is not a knockout. That is very good for us. So they did nothing, but also... Or we did nothing, but also they did nothing. So just bench the second Remoraid. So, okay, sure, you're going to take this Remoraid. That's fine. Next turn, we can go ahead and grab that Oricorio with the Quick Ball, draw a bunch of cards, and hopefully draw out of this and get to hit them hard. The opponent gets another boss, as Luke Metal will do, I guess. I don't know. This is a very aggressive Luke Metal, apparently. Running the 50 HP Inkay because we want to use the Rapid Strike Inkays before we use the other ones. Because if this gets knocked out, we can go Ordinary Rod, put it back in the deck, and then it's more damage for us. So if we're going to play the split of the Inkays, you want to use the Rapid Strike ones first if they're on the bench already. If they're not on the bench, you want to use the dark ones first. But we already have them on the bench. We use Brawly for them. We want to use them first. But if they get knocked out, we go Ordinary Rod, put it back in the deck, and then we can do more damage. So we top deck the Octillery. Super cool there. We can also use the Spiral Energy with it, which is nice. So we're going to go ahead and grab a Korrina here. The odds of us getting this KO are almost 0%. Our opponent, between the GX and the Resistance, has a ridiculously high HP. They have 260 plus Resistance 280 plus the GX is 310. In order to hit 310, we need 8 Rapid Strike cards. That's difficult. So we're going to use the Ordinary Rod because we want to draw into either of those cards. The Remoraid is plus 40 damage, and the Cinccino is plus 2 cards. We're going to save the Quick Ball. We're going to Quick Ball away a dead card after this Korrina's in order to grab the Oricorio. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and Korrina's for 4. We save the Brawly. We don't want to Quick Ball away the Brawly because that's 40 more damage. We need 8 cards without an Octillery. It's going to be very hard to do, but we can maybe find a way. So we're going to go ahead and Korrina's for 4. All right, so now we can count. We're up to 3 Rapid Strike cards. Bruno is a single strike card. So what we can do now is we can go ahead and Quick Ball away the Minccino, grab the Oricorio, and that's going to draw us 3 more cards. We're going to get rid of the non-Rapid Strike card. We want to save the Bruno so that next turn we can hit very hard because we're probably going to need it. There's the Oricorio. We're going to use Dance of Tribute, draw 3 cards, and we did not quite get there. So we have to evolve, of course. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times 4, we are hitting for 200 damage minus resistance, minus Full Metal Wall. We're hitting for 150. Not particularly great, but this is important because if we hit them for 150, they can Malolana. They have 30 damage on them. Then we only have to hit them for 280 on the next turn. Hitting them for 280 is a relevant number. That is 7 times 4 is going to be 280 damage. So hitting them for everything we have in hand, except the Bruno, of course, is going to be important math here. So just go ahead and Rapid Strike Tentacles. We can always just grab another Mally next turn. I'm currently doing a little bit of math, but I've done the math in my head currently. So this is incorrect. No. Okay, that's very incorrect. We should have hit them for all 5. That way, yeah, we would have hit them for 150. If they Malolana, that would have been 1 less thing. Now if they Malolana, they fully heal. We could just grab the Malamar next turn. Like, we've got the Bruno in hand. We're good to go. So that was 100% a misplay right there. We didn't do the math properly, or I didn't do the math properly. There's a boss, and they KO the Oricorio. That's not an Oricorio. They KO the Octillery, the other O. Annoying, but not a Malolana. So super obvious play here, but we top deck the Cinccino, we evolve, and then we Bruno before the Dance of Tributes. You usually want to, support her first, whether it's Korrina's, whether it's Bruno, before you Dance of Tributes and before you make do. We draw 7 cards. We'll talk about the sequencing here real quick. So we draw our 7 cards. We're going to Dance of Tributes, then we're going to make do. The reason we're going to Dance of Tributes before we make do is we don't know what we want to use make do to get rid of yet. Now, of course, this hand has a lot of cards that are not Rapid Strike cards, so it feels a little obvious of like, oh, probably gonna get rid of like one of the balloons or something like that. But Dance of Tribute first, draw all the cards, and then you can decide. You almost always want to do the quote unquote random stuff before the stuff where you make decisions. Dance of Tributes draws 3 cards, whether you do it before make do or after make do. Make do requires you to make a choice. What card am I going to discard? We're going to decide that after we use this Dance of Tributes. Draw 3 cards. Okay. The next question we want to ask ourselves before we make do, can we do any thinning of any useless cards or anything like that? No, we can't actually play any of these cards down. Now we can do some math. We have to hit for 150 damage, plus 50 for resistance, and Full Metal Wall. So has 150 HP remaining, plus 50 would hit for 200. If we have to hit for 200 damage, we need 5 Rapid Strike cards. We can go ahead and count in hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got there. That's good. We still want to establish a better board state. Preferably, we want to get down a Remoraid as well. So we're going to go ahead and make do. Going to make do one of the more useless cards, which I would think is the Air Balloon here. Because if we draw into a Minccino, we might want that Cinccino. If we draw into a PCOM, we might want that thing as well. There's a Level Ball. Level Ball is very good. So we're going to choose to attach the Psychic Energy because we're going to need the Spiral Energy for more damage output. The Spiral Energy does absolutely nothing otherwise except give us more damage. Otherwise, Psychic Energy, Spiral Energy are the same card. We're going to go ahead and attach. We're going to go ahead and Level Ball, grab out a Remoraid because Octillery is one of the best cards in the deck. We're going to Level Ball. We're thinking right now. There we go. Grab a Remoraid. We've got an attacker set up for next turn. We're threatening an Octillery. There's no reason to put the Air Balloon down right now. We want to prevent a boss stall plus Intrepid Sword play, which is very much something my opponent can do. And we're going to get rid of 5 Rapid Strike cards. We're going to get rid of the 2 energies, the 2 towers, and the Brawly. All useless cards. We probably want Korrina's for next turn. The odds of my opponent getting the knockout are very low. We want to be able to get the return knockout. We keep the boss so that we can KO. If we completely pop off, we can get 3 really good prizes, plus a top deck, plus a make do, plus potentially an Octillery. We could potentially get the boss KO on the Zacian. Super cool. But if not, we want to save the Korrinas so we can just establish a stronger board state. So perfect math. Take 3 prizes, and suddenly we gave our opponent 2 free prizes, but we're going ahead of them now. Promote the doll, of course. Let's see, do they have double saucer? Ooh, the Cape of Toughness. Cape of Toughness is actually very annoying for us. Suddenly, that Zacian has between Full Metal Wall and HP, 300 HP. A lot. That means we need 8 Rapid Strike cards in order to get the KO. They grab a second Zacian. They correctly choose to Metal Saucer to that second Zacian. My opponent does a good job. They're establishing a board instead of taking this knockout. They know this knockout does nothing for them. The odds of me in a 4-card hand without Oricorio, without Octillery, getting a boss KO is almost 0%. So my opponent does a good job of establishing a board. See what we top deck? Cool. We got a boss. We have 0 Rapid Strike cards in hand. We're not boss KOing anything. What we should do here is we should go ahead and make do the Mew, see what we grab. You may be thinking, oh wait, we can go grab an Octillery, we have PCOM. We don't want to do that yet. We might want to save the PCOM for later. If we can make do into an Octillery, we're good to go. We don't really need anything on this turn. We can thin the Mew out of the deck, we can draw 2 more cards, and we can see where we're at. So we're going to make do before we do anything else. Okay, we did not get the Octillery, so now we can go and PCOM the Cinccino, grab the Octo. thin something out of the deck with the Octillery, and we can KO this doll, which is nice. If we KO the doll, we remove a pivot off of a Malolana, which is very good. Don't underestimate how nice it is to just sometimes bop these dolls in Luke Metal. The doll is one of their best cards. Pcom, grab the Octo. Use our tentacles. Now, we do not want to grab a Mally off of this. Every other deck in the world is like, oh, I can evolve into another attacker. We don't want to do that. The reason we don't want to do that is Malamar's our damage. We already have an attacker for next turn. They're going to KO us. We're going down. Super sad. Who cares? We have an attacker ready to go. We want the other Malamars in deck so we can get the revenge KO on the Zacian. We're going to grab something useless like a Brawly. Korrina's would also be good. Korrina's a better option because we can actually thin the hand out. Get rid of the Tower of Waters. They don't have a doll anymore. That's very good. Makes it slightly harder for them to Malolana if we miss the KO. We can really only afford to miss one KO for the rest of the game, though. And that's assuming they can't boss our Oricorio. In theory, we need 2 turns to win. My opponent, after this turn, is going to need 2 turns to win as well. So it's going to be a close one. Hit for 230. A little bit of overkill, but you know, it happened. All right, promote the Mally. Now, this hand has a lot of different options. So we know we need to KO. Cape plus Full Metal Wall means we need 8 Rapid Strike cards in order to get this KO. You have a couple options that you can do. You could try to find a Bruno. I don't like that option. I think our best bet here is to Korrina. So what we should do is go ahead and hit that. What's it called? Or we can go ahead and Level Ball, grab out. We wouldn't hate a Minccino here so that we can get the KO next turn. Korrina for 3. And then we can use Dance of Tribute. And then we can use Make Do. And then we can use Octillery. Grab Minccino. We don't need any more attackers. We've got enough attackers. Ecom to thin the hand. Ooh. Okay, so I chose to grab the Mally there. I'm not 100% sure on that. The cool thing is the Mally is a Rapid Strike card. The downside is we're Korrinaing for 1 less card right now. So we need to draw into 6 more Rapid Strike cards. We're going to draw 3, 4, 5, 6. This has to be near perfect in order for us to actually get this KO. So I think a Minccino, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes. So had we done it the other way, we would have drawn 1 more card. Yes, it would have been 1 less Rapid Strike card, but we would have had 1 more Rapid Strike card in the deck, which would have increased our chances. So I don't agree with that play that I made. There's Dance of Tribute. Always dance before Make Do. Go ahead and Make Do a useless card. In this case, the Air Balloon is what we should get rid of. The Pcom could be live. If we draw into a Minccino, we can Pcom away the Inkay and the Minccino or Cinccino in order to get 2 more Rapid Strike Pokemon. So we should get rid of the Air Balloon here. The odds of something getting boss stalled at this point are pretty much irrelevant. Like, we're going to get far ahead. We should definitely get rid of the Air Balloon here because the Pcom could find us more Rapid Strike cards. Currently, we have 3, 4. Octillery is going to guarantee us a 5th. This could be number 6 and number 7 if we draw into a Pokemon. So the Make Do only has to draw into 1 Rapid Strike card. So there's definitely, yes, make the misplay. It turns out not to matter because we draw into a Korrina. Well, it does matter a little bit, but we can go ahead and grab something, Pcom it away. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's going to be 6, 7. Wait, that does matter. Yeah. Oh, we get so punished for this. You'll love to see it. Had we kept the Pcom, we draw into the Level Ball, or had we kept the Pcom instead of the Air Balloon, we would have had the KO. Oh, what a bad play. Grab whatever with this. Yeah, so that was 100% a throw. Always think to yourself, what do I need to get this KO? Kind of sit back and say, the Pcom could be a Rapid Strike card. The Air Balloon is never a Rapid Strike card. So now we have to bench the Inkay because we need 2 more attackers to win this game because we missed this KO. Right, 7 times 4 is 280. Yeah, we missed the KO. So now we have to play around our own misplay. No reason to dig deeper. Go ahead and throw all of that stuff back in the deck. And hope for the best. So they can Malalana this. Ooh, they Malalana into a doll. That means they don't need energy. We will get the return KO, most likely, which is nice. There's the Malalana. So this thing should be gone. There's no reason for this to be happening. With this deck, that resource management and that sequencing is such a big deal. They're going to promote it. We should be able to get the KO, no problem here. So now we have the Mally, we have the energy. We're in a pretty okay spot. Yeah, throw the balloon down. I think we're going to have to Korrina's here. We can go Rapid Strike Search, grab the Korrina's Focus. Drop the balloon. We're going to go ahead and P-Com to thin the hand. Grab the Mally. We do have the 2 Mallies we need to finish out this game. Go ahead and Korrina's. We're going to Korrina's first again because it has the smallest hand size. So now we need, oh my gosh, how much damage is that? 90? 90, we need to hit 300. That's 210. 210 means 210 plus, what is it? 30, 240. So we need 6. We need 6 Rapid Strike cards. We need one of these energies. So we currently have 1, 2, 3 in hand. So between the Oricorio and the Make Do, we need to draw 3. So we're going to Oricorio first. Dance of Tributes. We draw 1, 2. So now we have to draw into... No, we have 6. No, because we need the energy. Yeah, so we need either energy or another, and we do draw into a Brawly. You'll love to see it. So despite the missequencing on the turn before, getting rid of the P-Com, it's not missequencing, the resource management issues that we had. We have a Brawly for next turn. We get down another Minccino so we can make do. We're in a pretty okay spot. Remoraid's a very good prize. Level Ball's a very good prize as well. That just increases our damage out. So now either we keep Oricorio or we keep Bruno. It's something else you need to keep in mind when you're playing a deck with Oricorio against something that doesn't play Great Catcher. Our opponent cannot disrupt our hand and KO the Oricorio. Well, they probably can't. I assume they don't play Stamp. I assume they don't play Great Catcher. So we either get to keep the Bruno or we get to keep the Oricorio. That's pretty good for us. If they KO the Oricorio, we keep the attacker, we keep the Bruno. We're actually kind of happy with that. Except they win the game. Never mind. JK. I just realized they have 2 prizes left. Ignore that. If they KO the Oricorio, we lose. We don't want that. Had they had another prize left. Thankfully, they missed boss. They've already bossed twice. Not super surprising. And they have to Intrepid Sword. It's actually a very good play by my opponent. They don't retreat. They're ready to go. The odds of me KOing them without the Oricorio, without Bruno being active, is pretty low. We can go ahead and drop the basic energy. Now, this is a debatable play, whether we Korrina there or not. Another thing we could have done is we could have just hit them for, or sorry, use Make Do, hit them for everything we had. The issue there is we could lose the game. So because they only have 2 prizes left, we kind of have to go all out and say, we're going to find a way to get 8 Rapid Strike cards. Currently, we have 4. Octillery's 5. That's going to be 6, 7. Ooh. Make Do again, 8, 9. So we're going to draw 9 cards, or we could possibly get up to 9. So we cannot miss. We can miss 1 card, essentially. It's going to Make Do the single strike card, because it's not Rapid Strike. Ooh, we draw 2 more Rapid Strike cards. This is actually a little sketchy now. We need 8 to take the KO. We have 6. Octillery is 7. We have to Make Do one of these Rapid Strike cards into 2 more Rapid Strike cards. This all comes back to that mismanagement of resources on like turn 4, where I got rid of a P-Com instead of an Air Balloon. The P-Com would have given us another Rapid Strike card, would have given us the KO, and we would have been in a good spot. So every time you're playing this deck, kind of ask yourself, if you're going to use Make Do, if you're going to use anything like that, what cards could get me more Rapid Strike cards. So we don't have a choice. They have a pretty big hand. They have 15 cards left in deck. I think we have to go for the KO here. Go ahead and get rid of Brawly sucks. And you'll love to see drawn to 2 Rapid Strike cards. Most of the deck was Rapid Strike at this point, but not all of it. So there was not a guarantee. We pop off just enough to get the KO. So despite the mismanagement of resources early, despite some questionable sequencing plays, we do get the KO. But there's a lot with this deck, a lot that is very, very, very fun, very unique when you're making all of these different plays, decisions. You know, we never evolved this into a Malamar. Unlike every other deck in the world, I said this earlier, normally you're like, oh, I got my stage 1, I'm going to evolve it. Sometimes you don't want to do that. Sometimes you want to sit back and, oh, this is damage. I don't want to put this in play because this is 40 damage that I need later in the game. So hopefully you learned a little bit from the Rapid Strike Mally deck, the idea of sequencing, resource management. I definitely learned rewatching some of the misplays that I was making, but Luke Metal's a tough matchup. My opponent did a good job of playing the game, and we just happened to, you know, pop off. Sometimes Rapid Strike Mally hits 300 damage every single turn for a single energy. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all the other YouTube stuff. If you want to watch me play these games live, be sure to check out the Twitch channel as well, twitch.tv/mellow_magikarp, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace out.